Good afternoon. This is Tanisha Laverne Grant with blackinamerica.com. Y'all, I am super excited to bring to the platform today one of my cohorts in media, trailblazer, emerging icon, disruptor. Jason, we at Black in America, we're just so proud of you for a myriad of reasons. You are a trailblazer in the space of broadcast entrepreneurship, next generation. Mm-hmm. We had Cathy Hughes, Oprah Winfrey, Byron Allen, who lit the way, right? And then here you are, you're part of the new guard. What does it mean to you to have the opportunity really, to meet this moment in time, to be a broadcast entrepreneur, to have control over your narrative and the stories that you want to tell?
Well, first of all, if I could just encapsulate that introduction into every room I walk in, I think my confidence would be a lot higher. And I do appreciate you being consistent, because that was the same energy you gave me on the red carpet at the Ebony Power 100 party. I think that, I'm just doing the work so much that I'm not really focused on the story as much. I'm not doing the work to tell the story. I'm just doing the work and the story is being told. I think that when I get to the table, every table that I find myself at, and I'm having these conversations about what I want to do, the vision for Hollywood Unlocked, how I want to expand my brand, all the different tentacles that exist. The end story is I do own it all. I own the show at Fox, so I own the show at iHeart, I own Hollywood Unlocked. And what's come out of it is that I've been able to really put in the work to stay in control of my voice. And I think the culture in many ways has lost its way by allowing people to infuse so much money in these voices that they lack control. And for us, we've always been controlled. When we were taken from our countries, when we were enslaved in this country, when they went through Jim Crow, when we went through prison systems, there's always been a level of control that's dominated our ability to move and be free in this world. And I love the fact that I wake up every day with complete control over what I'm going to do and what I'm going to say. More importantly, how I'm going to continue to advocate for transparency in my culture.
I was going to say that was going to be my next topic to discuss, because, you've been very vocal about diversity and inclusion in mainstream spaces, in the space of, reporting from the red carpet. And that is pretty much, that's my wheelhouse. I work independently. I'm a freelancer, but I really jump-started my career in the entertainment news space. I come from a hard news background. I worked at NBC, I worked at ABC, I worked for Fox, I worked for Sony, I worked for Warner Brothers. And then I decided, at the quote-unquote old age of 40, that I wanted to do entertainment news, and that was 8 years ago. And what I was facing was, okay, do you want to put a wig on? Number one, before we put you on our air, that part, and, just my maturity and whether or not these outlets would be able to pay me, what I was worth coming from the background that I came from. So I was just like, oh, I guess it looks like I'm going to be doing this on my own. Mm-hmm. And then enter wanting to do red carpets. And it's just like, oh, Black in America. Oh, well, we don't know if we have room for you. And then when they do have room, I'm all the way at the end of the carpet. And, high profile celebrities, if they don't know you, they're not stopping. Luckily for me now, that's not the case, because I'm almost a decade in. But just really talk to us a little bit about, why you really felt the need to kind of take the lead almost, on Vena Voice, talking about diversity and inclusion and equity, for those journalists who are reporting from the red carpet, Black journalists with Black outlets, because that's the difference.
Well, one, I'm a fan of the culture. I'm a fan of these celebrities. I'm a fan of all of their work. I don't like all of their work, but I'm a fan of them. And when I started Hollywood Unlocked, I was privileged to have some of the most amazing Black women and men intern for me that then grew into full-time positions, who get up every day with the passion to not only bring my dream to life, but also to tap into their love for the culture and celebrity culture. And then to think that they do all of the work that they do, those that live in New York, get up, get dressed, get on trains, go all the way across town underground, fight the weather to get there, to be treated disrespectfully, really bothered me. And the reason why I've never done a red carpet isn't because I think I'm too good for a red carpet. I would do a red carpet. In fact, I just told NBC I want to do the Oscars. So now that you have Juliana's out and Ryan's out and the space is there and everything black is in, give me a chance, you know? And the reason why I've never done a carpet is because I think that if I was to show up on a carpet and say, I want to talk to somebody and they disrespect me or treat me in a certain way, first of all, I'm going to get so disrespectful on camera. But second of all, I think it would just make me fall out of love with this industry. And I really, when it started happening to my team and they would come back and give their report backs on, you know, so-and-so was at the show, so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, but we didn't talk to any of them. Well, why didn't you talk to any of them? Well, we were put at the end of the carpet and we were pooled with everybody else and they didn't come, or their publicists didn't walk them over. Then I started researching who the publicists were, and these black celebrities had these white publicists, and the white publicists would spend all the time at the top of the carpet. And this really happened at the NAACP Image Awards. So I was perplexed at how at our show with our people, we could be treated like the help. I said, oh no, there's just no way. And so I went on the Breakfast Club and I put them TV One, and Slate PR and those PR firms on blast. Now, I've lost a lot for that because now I'm not going to get their talent. But the thing that they don't understand about Jason Lee is I'm still going to pull up at the parties. I'm going to be at the party in Miami at the Billionaire Mansion and see Alicia Keys and pull her aside and tell her about you. I'm going to run into Rihanna at Walgreens at 4 a.m. buying some Doritos, and I'm going to pull her aside and tell her. So the difference is I'm going to run into the people and I'm fearless enough to walk up to them and tell them that you're a know-nothing ass publicist who's robbing the culture of opportunities to talk to their own. Now, what I have found interesting is how many celebrities are starting to turn the tide. Halle Berry's become an advocate. Kevin Hart, I just sat down with, talked about how—
I was going to say, yeah.
You know? So yeah.
Halle has been amazing. Halle has been absolutely amazing. I know during this award season, moving into, you know, the Academy Awards and the Globes, you know, she's pushing Bruised. And a few weeks ago at the LA premiere for Bruised, there was an after party. And when I say Halle was so elegant and so dignified in holding court with every Black media outlet that was at this after party. She spoke with me. She spoke with Wilson Morales. She spoke with Jamal Finkley. You know, she made sure that we got her undivided attention. And then fast forward to a couple of nights ago at the Critics' Choice Celebration of Black Cinema. You know, they partnered with Sean Edwards for that. Halle was there again, and she did that carpet from top to bottom, from the beginning to end. And she was as gracious, you know, with my outlet, Black in America, you know, as she was with Entertainment Tonight. You know, so Halle, if you get this, we see you, we love you, and we thank you, because that goes a long way. And you set an example for how we need to be treated overall. You know, one media outlet shouldn't trump another, you know.
And she's setting the bar for her counterparts. This is, you know, we forget Halle Berry's an Oscar winner. Halle Berry is a superstar A-list actress. And for her to take the time, for her to give the grace, for her to give the space for us is important. And I think that's why in my interview with Kevin Hart last week on Fox Soul, the conversation with him included that part about how I had called him out about the lack of support or perceived lack of support of Black media. And he said that conversation helped him be more aware when he's on the carpet and he sees us to make sure he makes the time. And I've said, you know, publicly and privately, Kevin has done a phenomenal job at stepping up and supporting Hollywood Unlocked. And I know he supports the Breakfast Club. And there's more people, you know, Tiffany Haddish has been really supportive.
Yeah, she's another one.
I was talking to her one day and I said, I really want to interview Viola Davis. And she called her and now she's helping me set up an interview with Viola Davis. So it's just like, I think something's happening where people are starting to understand it from our point of view. And I'm just glad that I'm able to be one voice in that process.
Jason, like I said, we thank you. We thank you, because sometimes, you know, you get fearful. You know, you feel like, you know, you're going to get blackballed, or you feel like, you know, your opportunities, which already seem few and far between, are going to get cut back, you know. And so it takes a lot, you know, and I remain excited about what is going to happen and what is happening in the future in terms of red carpet correspondence, African-American outlets on the carpet. You're with Fox Soul, that's a new space for you. What is the expectation that you think Fox Soul has for you in terms of building out their brand more? Because that's essentially what you're doing. Fox Soul is new. Fox Soul is new, and they're pulling in talent. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, right?
Yeah. Well, listen, let me go back and just add one more point to your last question and get into that, because that's a great question. We have to have the courage to call out bullshit. And recently I was asked what I thought about Oprah Winfrey, because, people are like, yo, like, you're moving in that space of being our generation's Wendy or Oprah and the next blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, great. That's great. My ego doesn't allow me to stray there. I'm focused on my work. But I will say, this is what I think of Oprah. I think she's failing to do her job. I think that Oprah Winfrey, given the fact that she was in our homes every day, we poured into Oprah. When white people said she was too black, her hair was too nappy, she wasn't this, she wasn't that. When everybody tried to change her, black people showed up, black women showed up, and their children showed up. I showed up. We love Oprah. We lift Oprah up. But Oprah is not far from being held accountable or being called out. I think she could do more for Black media, not just her friends, but people that look like me, people that look like you. I think that Oprah should look at how she can open up space to have Black creators and Black voices come through, have a round table with some of us to talk about this very issue. Oprah Winfrey single-handedly, looking like us, having been where we are now, could create the space, but nobody will call her out because she's Oprah. I am not really happy with the idea that she doesn't have that sense of needing to give back. Now, people will point to, well, she started a school in Africa, well, she started a network and she partnered with Tyler Perry. That's great. Tyler Perry was already successful. Tyler Perry was already at her level. And while she's not obligated to do it, I think she should feel a sense of obligation to do it. And I don't say that to start a war or start a thing with me and Oprah. I'm just saying, right. I feel like she could do a lot more than she has for Black media.
I will say this about Oprah Gayle Winfrey. When I'm on the carpet, Oprah has given me her utmost attention. She really has. I don't want to make, a brushstroke, or sweep an indictment, because we all feel like, Oprah could definitely do more in certain spaces, but I will say that in my experience, I think she's trying to make that effort. I think maybe we're not seeing it as much, as we would like to, but I will say I've interviewed Oprah at least 2 times and have been on carpets with her probably 3 or 4 times. And she has definitely, made the effort to talk to Black media, especially Black media. I can remember.
There's a difference though. Stopping on a carpet to promote something or to talk to an outlet who showed up to interview her. That's what she should do. Giving the space to Michael Jackson accusers to say his death that he molested them, when we know there's no evidence of that, but yet not give the same stage and space to Black people who are creators on the diversity issues and lack of inclusion issues in media is different. Stopping on the carpet and giving me 2 minutes, giving me an hour conversation about this topic that will catapult our interests as Black journalists or Black creators forward, 2 different things. So in that space, I'm saying she's lacking. I'm not saying that she's not
fair.
I have a picture with Oprah right here, where I met her, and she was gracious enough to allow me to steal this picture with her. But, again, I want everybody that looks like us to do more, to give us space, to elevate and amplify our interest in covering them.
Yeah, well, you are by all accounts diligent. I know the moments that we had at Ebony Power 100 Gala, you were like, well, are they stopping? And we were like, no. We were like, no, they are not stopping.
And I was surprised, because when I got to you, I said, isn't this amazing how beautiful everything on the carpet is Black, and they're all showing up and stopping for you? You're like, that is not the case. I was like, here too? What's happening?
You know what? Here's what happens, Jason. I think in our culture, African-American culture, we do not view ourselves as successful until we are welcomed into mainstream spaces, right? I know as an independent journalist, broadcast entrepreneur, a woman who is who works really hard to make her own way in this space. You know, I've interviewed everybody that comes on Entertainment Tonight, Access Hollywood, E, okay? However, my contemporaries, or, you know, those men and women who have gone before me, boomers, will say, oh my God, I cannot wait for you to blow up. I cannot wait for you to be successful. You know, I cannot wait to see you on
because their measurement of success is similar to a lot of Black people, and that's when you have the affection by white people or the acknowledgement of white people that you somehow have arrived.
Yeah.
You know? And it's sad because that goes back to the fight to be the house nigga and be in the house with them and be the one that they chose. And I've had people sit down with me and say, hey, you want to be big? You ready to play the game? And I'm like, no, because, hey, I may only be worth 30. My business may only be worth 30 million now, but I grew that 30 million from $0 on Instagram. And I put in hard work, sweat, tears, and denial after denial and bootstrapping myself to get here. And this 30 going to turn into 100 and 100 will turn into 500. And before you know it, I will have built a sustainable model that I sell and exit and have just as much money as the people who you say made it because Entertainment Tonight said that. I just don't believe that you have to subscribe to the mentality that white validation or validation.
Yeah, well, that's where we are. And unfortunately, that is what was happening at Ebony Power 100 Gala. You know, Michelle Thornton G, you know, she did those first interviews at the top of the red carpet, but didn't come down the entire press line. You know, and I was very disappointed because I wanted to talk to Michelle, you know, and so that's a sticking point. But, you know, before we wrap this up, Fox Soul, you know, let's just talk about you at Fox Soul really quickly and what that means to you right now.
So you asked the question about them bringing me in and me investing in them and them investing in me and me helping to build Fox Soul. I think that James DeBose has been brilliant in identifying talent that can help advance his interests. I think, you know, I first met James when he was executive producer at Dish Nation, and he would bring me on there and give me space to be me. And I was over there just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But then when he moved over to start Fox Soul with Stephen Brown, and he asked me to come over, there was a no-brainer. My attorneys are Black, my doctors are Black, my dentists are Black, my employees are Black, James is Black, my mailman is Black. I love the fact that I'm in a space with a Black man who has a vision and is allowing me to be a part of that. And I said just recently in another interview that, like, him bringing me back for a third season with everything we've been talking about, building other shows and me creating content with him for the platform, is he's investing in me. And that's money that is helping me to grow to that $30 million valuation. So I'm really grateful, and I'm excited that I own the show. I licensed the show to them, and he understands my passion for ownership as a Black man. And I mean, I couldn't ask for a better partner. And I do hope that people support Fox Soul, because we talk about not having opportunities, not having spaces, and not having things. But then when we get it, we don't want to show up and support it. And that bothers me.
I know the feeling. Jason Lee, the incomparable trailblazing Jason Lee, stopping through Black in America today, to just give us some gems. Jason, thank you. You got to have me on. You got to have me come guest host on Hollywood Unlocked. I would love to come and chop it up with y'all.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We just got this new space. So I'm opening Hollywood Unlocked Studios January 1st here in LA. And we're going to be doing a lot of creative stuff over there in the space. So we got to figure it out. I'm down. Yeah,
I'll send a pitch. You guys, Tanish Laverne Grant, blackinamerica.com. Thank you.